brain is wider than the sky. For put them side by side, the one the other will contain, with ease and you beside. The brain is deeper than the sea. For hold them blue to blue. The one the other will absorb, as sponges buckets do.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite Of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Woo, new episode.
Woohoo!
Yeah, super excited. Before we get into everything, few announcements.
Hard stop.
You're not going to know what they are.
Get to business.
Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Hive, and TikTok. All the links are down below.
But not Mastodon.
Not Mastodon, I refuse. Unless you want to teach me, I can't right now. They're all at A Bite of Pod. Make sure you subscribe, review, and share the episode if you can. We would greatly appreciate it. They love it whenever you leave reviews. That's how people find the show. Lastly, we have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, get bonus content, get free stuff, discounts on merch, it's all there for the low, low price of $1. We're generous that way.
There's a $1 tier, friends. But you know what is completely free? Our Discord server.
That is true.
So if you wanted to hop on your Discord and talk to fellow listeners, that's there for you as well.
Yeah. There may be some fun conversations in there. So go do that.
We love a meme.
Yeah. All right. So the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Very excited that we're talking about a new show, 1899, Creators of Dark. Brand new show. It's in the same vein, but also not the same at all. Very excited.
I really feel like we are jumping into new waters here.
Ooh.
Quite mysterious.
Ooh.
I feel like we haven't done a real twisty-turny.
No, not since, I would say.
Like sort of Bly Manor?
Bly Manor and stuff like that. Yeah, because everything else has been like Marvel and Heartstopper and very just like at face value. Like,
yeah.
No mysteries.
But this one's on a boat.
Yeah, this one's on a boat.
We're on the high seas.
All right, so to get into this, spoiler warning. You have been warned. All the spoilers for episode 1 and 2 of 1899.
Right. So let us officially take a bite of 1899, episode 1, The Ship, and episode 2, The Boy.
Don't say it like that.
Yeah, no, that does not fit his spirit. All aboard the Kerebos that is setting sail to New York.
Toot toot.
Yay. More like that.
No.
What toot toot.
Well, what's better than that?
The over 1,600 passengers on the ship have many reasons to cross the sea. Our 20 plus main characters are traveling for a number of reasons.
Help me.
Yeah. Leisure, to escape persecution, to hide their secrets, and others to find things that have been lost. Mora's brother went missing on an ocean liner, the Prometheus, 4 months prior to setting sail. She received a mysterious letter telling her to take the trip to find him. Once on the ocean, the crew receives a message that repeats coordinates over and over again. The captain, Ike, turns the boat to head there. Drifting in the sea is the Prometheus. It is empty, but for one passenger. Woo!
Right. So that's the official synopsis that is for 1899.
Yeah.
This show, Dark, the creators of Dark, when they did that show, is very intimate. It was timey-wimey, mind-bending, German, sci-fi, dark stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it all took place in a town. So it felt intimate. It felt like, okay, it's contained here-ish. This one, they were like, you know what? Hold my beer. I'm going to create a cast list that's longer than any given episode on Game of Thrones. Also feature dialogue that's in English, French, Spanish, Cantonese, Danish, German, Polish, and Japanese so far in these episodes. They're like, let's just build this story into the most massive type of thing that we possibly can.
And, like to raise the stakes even more, they're on a ship together. So where there's like a town and you feel like I can sort of travel outside of the town. All these people are on a ship.
Yeah.
And they're stuck there.
You know what's interesting about that? We'll kind of get more into the breaky downy stuff about it, but
breakdown.
Just in general, like, so there's, what is that term? It's called like mystery box, right? It's a term. I don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure. J.J. Abrams, I believe, Lost.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of coined in that where it was like, this is it's all contained. It's right here. I don't feel that way with this, even though it is on a ship. I do feel like it's breathable almost. Like I'm just letting this stuff happen as opposed to like Lost and some of the other mysteries where I'm like, I need to know this. I need to know this. I'm more just like sitting with this and being like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I think you can very easily let yourself slip into the feeling of this show,
right?
Which has you on edge. I feel like it feels like there's always someone just breathing down your neck while you're watching this.
It's uncomfy.
Yeah.
It's eerie. It's gothic. It's sooty. It's dark, but not in like a gross way. You know what I mean?
It's like dark, but on a ship.
Yeah. It's cinematic in that way.
Yeah.
The listeners know what I mean. They know what I mean.
Oh, I was saying it was like Dark the show, but on a ship.
Oh, ish. But yes.
Right?
There is German.
Well,
so yes.
A thing about the languages, though, is that I love that choice, right? Because
the multilingual.
A bunch of people on a ship from Europe would be speaking all different languages. Whereas, like, it's like Cinderella, even though Cinderella is like, a German or a Danish tale, but yet they all speak English and with a British accent. It's like Drew Barrymore's, you know what I mean? It's like that thing of like, oh, well, it's old, so I guess they're all British.
Oh, yeah, that's like I don't understand why.
It's like a Hollywood thing.
I don't understand why a lot of fantasy stuff, they're always British.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Or Scottish. It's like always British or Scottish. That's kind of, I don't know. I have no idea.
So this feels more true.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's definitely a choice. I feel like I said it again. It's going to create this kind of, it's coming that they all don't speak the same languages, and that shit's going to hit the fan, and that when that happens, they all can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's a very conscious choice to do that.
Sure.
And I like it. It's making me uneasy, but in a good way.
Well, listen, in the words of Ursula the Sea Witch and Carly Rae Jepsen, body language. That's all they have to go on.
I don't know. I mean, how do you describe a boy with a tattoo and he's the only survivor? How do you explain that to somebody?
You just make a sad face.
No. All right. So the premiere of this show I thought was really interesting. They set out to prove that they can create a very grand scope of a thing. And this one does not hold any punches. It's not a slow burn. It's not a fast burn. I want to call it like a medium burn here, because they're just like, here's a lot of stuff, but you have no idea what it means.
Well, so much of the first episode is trying to remember who everyone is.
Yeah. So if we don't say some names, just know that we're going to describe them. So just follow along that way, because it's a lot.
It would help if you watch the episode. You know what I mean? Like, don't just listen to us. Watch the episode too.
Oh,
because what we're saying might not make any sense.
Yeah. So the premiere. So we have our main focus in Mara. Is it Mara? Mora. Like the moors of Gloucestershire.
Why is that name so difficult to say?
Because I think we want to say Moira
or Maura.
Or
Did you ever? There's a movie Sisters with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, and there's a woman trying to say the name Mora. But it's like Maura. It's hard.
So Amy Poehler ruined it for the rest of our lives.
Pretty much.
So we have our main protagonist, Mara Franklin.
Maura.
So what we know of her is she's an English woman trained as a doctor. Trained, I put that in. She's not practicing.
Yeah.
Because by English law, if you're not a man, you cannot practice the thing that you study and know just as well as the men because there we are.
Because horrible things.
But is she a doctor? And I preface this with describing the first scene of the show because I'm very confused. The show opens with an Emily Dickinson poem, "The brain is wider than the sky," which I feel like might mean something grander. Well, let's read it, go read it, and then maybe we have a hint. The hallucinatory flashback or currently happening or is going to happen.
Flash forward.
Yeah, of her being incarcerated in an asylum, yelling at her father, from what we can gather. What did you do to him? What happened to my brother? I'm not crazy. I'm not insane. And being put into a cell. So we see that, and then she wakes up. She has the same marks on her wrist as she did at the asylum, but she's not in the asylum. It's very interesting.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, though, that you say her father, because I didn't think it was her father at all.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the devil or a spirit or someone from somewhere did something, and she's trying to figure it out, but I didn't get her father at all.
It was a sea devil.
I mean, wet guy, we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, so within 2 minutes of this pilot, the plot thickened a lot.
Yeah, not to mention, this is a thing that they do. We see it once in each episode. There's like a flashback or whatever it is moment, and it zooms into a pyramid into their eyeball. And then we wake up with them.
Yeah, it's
on
the
the ship.
Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, that might make sense.
Yeah.
Are they going to Florida or New York?
They're going to
Forget.
New York.
Oh, yeah.
But they get
forget
lost in the triangle and then
Hello.
timey-wimey stuff. So the way
Oh.
that this show is kind of set up, and I like this, and I feel like you have to almost do this with an ensemble cast, is that the ship, how it's set up, you have your captain and crew, you have the first class, you have the steerage, and the people that shovel the coal into the engine.
Yeah.
So we have in the Kerebos, that's the name of the ship, which is Cerberus.
Right. So I did want to say that our two ships are, you can say, Prometheus and Cerberus. They are both based in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So Prometheus is one of the Titans, the supreme trickster and god of fire. And then there's Cerberus, who is the monstrous watchdog of the underworld with 3 heads.
Some say monstrous. I just say misunderstood. It's fine.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So that's the names of our ships, which I don't think are a coincidence, but
I agree. So they're named that for a reason.
TBD on what that means.
True.
So it is all captained by Ike with an E, but not where you think it is. It's a EYK.
Ike. I love that.
Who is from Dark, led by Andreas. I don't know how to say the last name. Picshanaman. I'm just going to say that.
Pachman.
Yeah. But they are obviously haunted by their past. They're still as handsome as ever from Dark.
Absolutely.
That's right.
With that patch of white in his beard.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's a German that is barely concealing his drinking problem. And his wife burned all 3 of his kids down in the house.
Yeah.
So very interesting character we have here, which is haunted by his past.
Yeah. And we hear murmurings amongst the crew saying, how could they let someone like that captain a ship?
You know, even though there's 1,600 people on this thing, and we're focusing on 20, word gets around way too fast in the ship. And also, I don't know, I never know the pilot of my plane.
I think there is a thing on ships, though, where there's the captain's dinner. And
I guess they don't have to be there the whole time.
Yeah. And also, this is 1899, apparently. And maybe, and there's no cell phones, so
That's
they just
true.
gossip all day.
What else are you going to do but get to know the captain of the ship?
See Ike? Oh, he's always carrying some alcohol around.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that about?
He's an interesting character. I feel like when we first meet him, he's very by the rules. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a lot more haunted and broken
Yeah.
than what is seemingly out on the outside. When he meets Mara for the first time, he's like, "Why were you down in the steerage? You're not allowed to be there. How dare you?" He almost seemed aggressive
Sure.
about it, which I think is a little offline. I would say if it was the other way around, somebody from the steerage up there, it would make sense within the story for him to be so upset.
Mhm.
But it's she's a well-paying first-class person. How dare you?
I do what I want.
Yeah.
It seems like he's very weary of anything stopping his mission, whatever that might be.
Right.
Right. So even when his, first mate and his crew are saying, that's not a good idea, we shouldn't do that, he's like, well, fuck y'all, I'm doing whatever I want.
His first mate, Franz.
Franz and Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the names.
Yeah. Sebastian is the guy with hair, and Franz is the bald guy with beard.
No hair.
No,
Yeah.
no hair. Hair and no hair.
Yeah. He has an interesting. The first episode, he doesn't really do too much. The captain. Towards the end, he does whenever they find the other ship, and he has to go to the other ship and all that.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because we're not talking about the first 2 episodes. But the crew is very divided. So apparently there's companies that build ships and do these services. This same ship, the Prometheus that went missing 4 months ago, is the same company that they're on.
Right.
And it seems like in the show that you have the captain who is doing this or on the ship for his own motivations. And then you have some people that are more loyal to the company that they're on, or just not really sure why he's willing to bend those types of rules. So we have a bit of a company clash going on within the ranks of the staff.
Yeah. And I also think there's something to be said about he's sort of looking at these ships and he's doing the math, right? He's like, we have these ships, nothing is full, this company is tanking.
There was one ship, it's gone. Now there's 2 ships.
Now there's 2 ships. He's like, it's sinking. Okay. He's like, I said it for a reason.
Yeah. We have our I'm gonna skip the first class because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right down to the below the deck, the steerage, all of those people.
Okay.
So the people shoveling the coal into there, we have Polish laborer Olek, who cradles a Statue of Liberty postcard and the promise of a reunion to his emigrated loved one, probably. That's the way he was kind of looking at that.
Yeah.
It seemed almost like that. Like, this is from somebody that has a big pull on him.
I feel like he's very hardworking, but but like the thing is like, I feel like he's down there with all these guys who are always very hardworking, but he'll question things every once in a while.
Right.
Why are we doing this? Why is this happening? Everybody's like, I don't know, just let it happen. What does it matter? So he's more aware of the things that are going on. And I don't feel like he's as ingrained as a crew member as the rest of them, probably because he's seeing it as just a way to get him to the US.
Yeah, he just wants to keep his head down.
Right.
And just get there.
Right.
And not be talked to.
Right. So it's just a ticket for him to get there. It's not his job necessarily.
The really of note so far, the only other person from down below to mention is Jerome, which I like Jerome. I'm not sure if I can trust him, but I like him because, one, he came out of the coal and it was weird. And then just walking around and stealing crew member. So he doesn't belong there. He's a stowaway or something.
He's a stowaway, but for what reason?
Right. Or if he is a stowaway, I don't know. Is the ship real?
Yeah.
Are we real?
Who knows? But he definitely has a connection to someone on board, but we're still waiting to see what that might be.
Yeah. Well, he is a Frenchman, so keep that in mind.
Bonjour.
So now to the first class assholes and weirdos.
Oh, so many.
I love talking about them. Miss Wilson, a chatty English woman with cutting remarks about everybody else. That's really the main thing about her.
Yeah.
That's her whole character so far. She is just somebody that says whatever she wants. She's a badass, but also she's shifty. I don't trust her.
Yeah, she seems like the lead gossiper. She really wants to be in everyone's business and know what's going on, probably to use to her own advantage at some point.
Connected to her is the Cantonese woman, Ling Yi, and her servant, Yuk Jae. They are very interesting. We know nothing about them. The first episode, second episode, she's dressed as a geisha.
Right.
So it's like they're Japanese.
Right.
But they speak to each other in Cantonese.
Right.
And when they're alone, they're obviously not from Japan because they're trying to learn Japanese.
Yeah.
But Miss Wilson, I don't think knows that because she's selling the services as a geisha to other people. So I don't think so I feel like they're conning her, but then she's also using her.
Yeah, it's a really bizarre relationship. She obviously, she's a madam of some sort, right? And I didn't think of the thing that I felt like she was in on it. Like she knows that they're not really Japanese, and that's why she tells them no speaking to each other because they're not speaking Japanese, they're speaking Cantonese
It could be. I mean, these 2 episodes I saw, I don't know.
to blow the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's an interesting little trio we have here because they're connected, but they're not staying together, but yet she controls them. So I'm kind of curious to see where this is going to go.
There is something that they say to each other if, when it's not okay, it's not going to be okay. Something in those lines where, again, we don't know why all these people are running and what secrets they have and why they're particularly running, but also posing as something else. Very interesting.
Right. This was the ticket that they needed to get out of there. However, they got it.
Yeah.
This was, you know what I mean? It's like everybody is seeming to play a part to get them away from wherever they want to get away from. And so they're just trying to stick to that as much as possible. Although, let's hear it for $18.99 Rosetta Stone, a record.
A record. All right. We got 2 more couples in first class. Couples. So we have Lucen and his wife Clemence.
Yes.
Unhappy and sexually incompatible newlyweds from Paris.
Well, for newlyweds, they were dressed head to toe trying to have sex. So that's your first problem.
I don't think his pants were down. You have to take your pants off first.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Which I guess it was meant to be. Yeah. But they are not compatible at all. He feels like she's hiding something and she has a little smirk, which makes us think that maybe she is.
What do you mean smirk?
So after that scene where they're having sex but nothing happens, he yells at her and says, "You don't have to pretend to like me anymore. I'm done doing this. You're clearly not happy." Whatever. He leaves. She sits there like looking like you feel like, oh my God, he just yelled at her. How terrible. But then when he leaves the room, she smirks. So she's also hiding some sort of secret as well.
They all have dark secrets.
It's hard to use dark because dark was the other show.
No, it's fine. We will tell you if we're mentioning dark. Yeah, there's not much to them. And Lucen is somebody that he's taking medicine. It seems like when the particular thing happens in the show, when the ship has to go off course, he was really the only one that had the strongest reaction.
Yeah.
As opposed to all of them. So it seems like there's something a little timely with why he needs to get there as opposed to some other people.
Yeah. I just thought it was like cocaine.
It was liquid.
Was it liquid? I thought it was in a little, it just looked like a gold casing to me.
Yeah, it was a little
liquid.
tiny. I mean, it could be some type of drug, but it was definitely like a clear liquid.
Oh, yeah. Well, it looked like, to me, it felt like it was a drug. Like he has an addiction to something or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Morphine.
Perhaps.
Ibuprofen.
Lucien? I don't know what he's addicted to, but it's something.
Yeah. Then we have these 2 people. We have Ramiro, the priest, the Spanish priest, who is actually Portuguese.
Right. And not a priest.
And we have Angel, who is whatever. He compares himself to a wolf and to his sheepish brother, but it's not really his brother. It's his lover, but I can't tell if it's his actual lover or not. He's just very horny.
Yeah.
And Hell is very horny and they're gay. But that's probably why I don't know how else to describe them.
He's very horny and they're gay.
Yeah. They're lying about their relationship. They're lying. Ramiro's lying about his profession. It does seem like maybe that they're on the run because they're gay.
It's right. Definitely because at the start, it feels like they're on the run because they can't go back. They did something bad. But then it's like, oh, they're gay.
Yeah. Angel, I'm not too sure I like him as a character. He's fine. Ramiro, I do feel more bad for.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep my eye on them. Angel directly relates me back to the last group of people that we should talk about. And they're in the steerage. It's the Danish family that's down there, the very religious Danish family. There is Kester, who I feel like is going to be the main person from the steerage.
Agreed.
He's a younger boy. He's very scarred. He's one that goes and seeks Mara's help whenever his baby needs to be turned, all of that. His sister Tovlo. It's Tove. And she has a father, mother, very religious, doesn't like any of the situation that's happening, doesn't want outsiders. And then we also can't not mention the little girl, Ada. So there's a situation that happens where they need a doctor. And we have our main protagonist. She's a doctor. She's trained. She goes down there, helps them. She turns the baby. Everything's fine. But the religious people do not like that.
No.
But we also see something that, so the youngest girl, Ada, goes to her and she's like, I want to be a doctor just like you. And Mara's like, I don't know what you're saying, little girl, get away from me. But also, I can't have kids. So I feel like there was a particular reason why that was said. And we get a flash of the green beetles.
The beetle.
So I feel like they're trying to tell us something and I don't know what. Not yet.
Yeah. So the whole thing with the turning of the baby, it's an excruciating scene because the sister is literally screaming in pain. And her mother actually doesn't want help from the person that can make her feel better.
Yeah.
So we're showing that, again, there's these lines that nobody wants crossed, whether it's class or whether it's religious and non-religious and, you know, the role of a woman compared to this doctor. So it's just a heck of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Mora is that Mora is trying to communicate with them that she'll help, and she does, but yet some people seem grateful and some people don't.
Right.
You know, the most grateful person is the little sister.
Yeah, that wants to now have her profession just like her. She wants to be a doctor, which is really sweet. So that's our main cast of characters. That's all their kind of secrets and some little revelations that they have. The trajectory of the story changes when they get that thing where the Prometheus is. And I like the crew that ends up going on this boat. So they finally get there. If there was no, I would have a hard time getting on a cruise ship. One, I'm not calling this a cruise ship, but a cruise ship, because that's what they are now. I would never. You cannot pay me enough to get on there. Let alone telling me that we're going to go 7 hours off course to rescue a ship that's been missing for months that nobody's heard of. You get there, the water's not moving, completely dark. Nobody's like, hi, we're alive. I'd be like, no.
Well, that's
bye.
Yeah. Part of the creep factor is that everybody's like, well, is anyone even going to be alive on the boat? And the captain's like, well,
if they ration their food,
they ration their food, but they've been there for 4 months, so probably not.
Probably not all of them. It's like exactly
just
what he
the
said.
cannibals.
Yeah. So the one of the, I guess, plot devicey things or the driving force for two of the characters we know so far in the show, the letters.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the boat because of the letters. Mara got one addressed to Henry, which is weird. It's not addressed to her. Ike got one addressed to himself. Both look exactly the same. Both say what is lost will be found. They're both on the boat. They get to this boat and you can tell the Prometheus that you can tell that they're wanting to go there for a reason. I don't know if Ike, since his family's dead, if he thinks that for some reason it's going to have an answer there.
Well, right. If the letter told him that he can find them on the ship, maybe that's why he's going, even though they're dead.
Yeah, we don't know what his letter said.
Yeah.
In these first two episodes, we have no idea. Her letter pretty much just talks about how her brother that was missing was in New York and everything. So that's why she takes the same exact boat ride to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she thinks that he was on the Prometheus and
right.
was supposed to be there. Exactly. Yeah. So this boat does not look like it's been there just for 4 months. If that's what 4 months at sea makes you look like, again, I don't ever want to be on a boat.
Yeah, I'm not one to want to go on a cruise ship either, to be completely honest. And this boat, it's like
rusted,
mold. Like it feels like there's vines growing all over it.
How is there seaweed?
I don't know. That's the question.
But again, there's nobody on this ship. The thing that Ike finds is the same ribbon that is in his daughter's hair that we see in a flashback in the second episode, which is very particular, suspicious, and also particular to her head.
Yeah.
And there's a boy, one single boy, but not just any boy. We're talking Omen, Damien level, creepy, non-talking.
Locked in a cabinet with a crowbar keeping it closed.
They locked him in there, and a green beetle led them to him. All the signs are pointing to stop and turn around.
Leave the boy.
But these people don't do that. And they're like, we found a boy. Let's take him back.
Okay, so you're telling me that I think the Prometheus, they said, had like over 1,400 passengers on it. So 1,399 of them died.
No bodies.
No bodies.
Yeah.
This kid is locked in a cupboard.
Yep.
I'm guessing for the 4 months.
Yep.
And is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pristine. Looks a little tired, but other than that, and they're like, "Oh no, bring him back."
to put the cherry on this weird, eerie, dark, mysterious cake or ice cream, whichever you prefer, he's holding, wrapped in some burlap, a black pyramid that does not hum, that does not light up, that just looks like onyx or something that is a black pyramid with no explanation on why yet.
And the thing that I find most interesting
Tell me.
is that he, just, steps out of the cupboard and he unwraps it and gives it directly to Mora.
Yeah, I don't trust anybody.
It just feels like that's exactly who was supposed to get it. He was waiting for her.
She let him out, so maybe he's like, here you go.
Or he sent her the letter. Hello.
Is that Henry?
He said, hello, I'm Henry.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't talk. So he said nothing.
Yeah. So they bring him back on the ship. But while they're on the ship, there is a man that comes from the water, Daniel.
The ocean.
He just comes out of there, somehow scales the side of the ship, gets inside, and a green beetle. He goes to the room next to Mara.
Mm-hmm.
A green beetle, he lets loose, goes into the door, somehow unlocks the door. Again, I'm not understanding how beetle magic works.
Okay. This is my theory. He put the beetle under the door. The beetle kills whoever's in that room.
What?
To make it free, and then he goes in there and he takes their spot.
So I thought that too, but we get a conversation when they're talking about the company and the captain's like, this doesn't make any sense, that it's not even at full capacity, this place. So like there's just ample room for a lot of people. And for some reason, this shipping company is just losing money, hiring all these people, doing months on 7 days, losing money, not filling the ship makes no sense.
Because guess who the shipping company is?
Who?
The devil.
Oh my God. You know how many times Derek said, that's the devil? I'm like, why do you keep thinking it's the devil? And he said, who else could it be?
Hello, evil. Hello, it's the devil. The devil's just playing little games with these people.
I think
that kid, the devil.
I really hope it's more nuanced than the devil. I'm tired of the devil did it.
I don't know. Creepy kids. We know about creepy kids. There's always a creepy kid too.
Ugh, God. So this kid,
the boy,
says nothing at all. He's very mysterious. He sleeps a lot. He has a tattoo on the back of his ear with the triangle with the line through it. Symbolism of triangles and pyramids everywhere in the show.
It's in the carpet. It's in earrings. It's
in
on
their
the
eyes.
letters. It's in their eyes. He handed her the pyramid.
Yeah.
I did a little research, and an upside down pyramid with a line through it is symbolic of the earth.
Right.
Which is interesting. Not water, not air, earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are they on some sort of spirit plane? Or are they no longer on earth? What is the symbol?
No, yeah.
Or like you said, is it the Bermuda Triangle and the line is their trajectory through it?
So only go through this part of the triangle, guys.
No, it's not telling them to only go through it. It's mapping out their course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Only do this one. This is the safe path.
Oh, I don't think it's safe.
The devil's in the rest of it.
No, I think the devil's like, yes.
Go through this
Follow
part.
that line,
Yeah.
you fools.
Yeah, go through that one.
Yeah.
There is something really odd about some of the interactions that happened with these people on the ship. We have Clements that ran into Jerome after he put the metal in the room. She meets him at some point and she's like, do I know you? Not only does that happen there, but when Mara meets Daniel, the ocean boy, the wet guy, she thinks that she knows him too.
Yeah.
So these people aren't being able to place these people on how they know them.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Jerome Clements thing. It was interesting. He sneaks into their room to put this metal there, but then she sees it, has no reaction to it, and she just puts it in a drawer.
Well, she hates her husband, so she's like, oh, he's leaving his toys everywhere.
Oh, gosh, I don't think it's that simple. I think she knows what it is, and she's trying to hide it from him because she doesn't want him to find it.
But don't you think she would have put it somewhere less easy for him to find?
I don't know. I think Lucien wants to be in that room.
That's true. Lucien is just like, no thanks.
I hate you.
Yeah,
I want to go drink my liquid outside.
Yeah. Give me my liquid.
Yeah. And then going back to Mora and Daniel, this is really interesting, right?
Right.
He clearly chose the room next to hers for a specific reason.
The boy.
Yeah.
They came from the same ship.
But I think in her vision from the beginning, he was the one in her vision.
No, it was her dad.
He's wearing the same trench coat. It's
She
the same
says-
exact wool coat.
She says dad.
She says, "Dan."
Yeah.
She says,
So
"Dan."
unless that's her dad, now de-aged.
Well, hello. She's like, you look familiar because she's never really interacted with a younger version of her father.
Oh my God.
He came from the sea, Noah. He can be anyone.
He did. That is very true.
Give me a break.
I will say he somehow swam at least 300 yards
And then climbed up an entire ship.
in an entire pea coat. Yeah. And
Yeah. And he was fine, by the way.
He dried off. Yes.
All of his beetles are also alive.
They did. They did not drown the entire time.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird interactions and people, well, not weird. I don't want to say weird. Well, okay. Angel is smoking near the storage entrance, and Crester wants a cigarette from him. And he's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then he starts like touching his scar. He's being very intimate with this person.
He almost puts his thumb in his mouth.
Yeah, and Crester doesn't necessarily back away, which is also a thing of note. And he gives him his silver cigarette holder.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot more intimate even than that, right? So Angel goes to find Crester in the storage area. They obviously don't speak the same language, but he takes the silver case and he slides it into his pocket.
That's fine. You don't do that to anybody when you're like, oh, you wanted this? Here you go. Put it in their pocket for them.
Yeah, reach all the way down into their pocket. And then his Tuve Luve walks in and she's like, WTF? What are you doing? You made me a promise. And then, Angel runs away.
It does seem like Crester is probably, whatever happened to his face is either for his homosexuality, his parents found out about it, some type of first class people aren't nice to him because of his homosexuality or whatever. That's kind of what's happening. He might have made a promise to his sister that he wouldn't do that so that way he'd stay alive.
Yeah.
And then Angel is also supposed to be keeping a low profile, but he's very horny and he can't stop.
And then that's also kind of going back to what we were saying before about Angel and Ramiro's relationship, is that we're not even sure what they are because Ramiro kind of catches wind of what Angel did with Crester and he gets sort of jealous.
What do you mean catches wind? She goes up there.
Oh, that's right.
Tovlo
She confronts them.
Tovlo goes up there to him and it's like, take your thing back. Get away from my brother.
She throws it on the floor.
Out of everybody.
Yeah. But then we also see, just sort of connecting the two, the persecution of probably the homosexuality is that when Angel and Ramiro are having sex, Angel takes his shirt off and he has like lash scars all over his back.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just not good to be. You can't. Okay, so don't be gay in 1899 and don't be a woman who wants to practice medicine.
Right. Right. Yeah. So the second episode really focuses on the captain a little bit, Ike. It shows the flashback of his wife and the kid. It shows them burning. The weird thing about this, so we're getting more into, I don't want to say lost territory, but that most people have seen Lost, where everything isn't what it seems. And there's secrets upon secrets and compartments upon compartments in this.
Literally.
And when he's having this flashback of being in the house the night that, the wife burned everything down, they disappear. He goes into the fireplace, but then the fireplace leads up into his chambers.
Yeah, his own cabin.
Into his own cabin. But the walling of the thing that goes up is this really sleek brick.
Tile?
Yeah, tile.
Obsidian? Yeah.
It reminds me almost of the Ministry of Magic in the Order of the Phoenix. The tiling that's on there.
Totally.
That's what it looked like. That's to give you a descriptor. And he doesn't know what it's for. He goes down there later and there's no opening to anywhere.
Right.
It's just there. And it has the same symbol of the triangle with the cross through it.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
I think a big reveal at the end of the second episode is that there's screens and they're all being watched, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why they're all here. It's either some type of weird experiment. The company isn't what it seems. Moira had amnesia. She was talking about amnesia. She's a neurologist, so she's really concerned about the brain. It holds the whole universe and the secret to everything is what she told Miss Wilson. I don't know what's happening. It just seems like there's some type of weird experiment that's being done on these people.
Yeah.
That it might change throughout the show.
And one thing that Daniel says to her, he says, "Your name's Mora." He goes, "That's an Irish name, but you're not Irish."
Right.
And so it's almost like she's not even fully grasping who she really is.
They're given characters, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's either a giant murder mystery party, it's the Hunger Games, or they're in a video game.
Yeah. Yeah. The mystery of the boy and what happened to the people, even if there was people on the Prometheus, it's very easy to fabricate memories if you can wipe them, and also to print a newspaper.
Yeah.
So, like, if there even was anybody there, because again, the ship looks a little older. The fact that the captain ends up making the decision to be like, we're closer to Europe than we are to New York, so we're just going to tow this back
Yeah.
to where we go.
People are pissed.
Yeah. So there's gonna be some mutiny on this ship. I feel like it's almost like a social experiment. So this show decided to have a multilingual cast and people. Not all of them can speak the same languages. Some people can. Mara seems to know a little bit more languages than some people. She seems to be listening when it doesn't sound like she's listening.
Yeah.
So, which I think is interesting. She might be a key player in most of this. But then to have the captain just go against whatever company's order is happening, and he's like, we're just going to tow this back. I'm making the decision.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think more about the mystery at hand. And one of the things in the first episode, so a lot of the tone of this show has to do with the music, right?
It's very bleak.
It's very bleak. Yeah. And it's like, it feels more like
wet,
like sounds. It's not even music. It's like sounds and eerie, creepy things. But the end of the first episode ended with like a song from the 70s.
Right.
And I was like, that took me out of it. I was saying that to Noam. Like, that really took me out of it.
It was the same song that the Matrix had for their trailer.
Yes. Exactly.
Get it?
Hello, they're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's just another Matrix.
We're in the Matrix.
Yes. This is the Matrix at sea. And so I was like, wow, Noah, that really took me out of it. I didn't really like that choice. That was really bizarre. But then, like Noah said, at the end of literally the last scene of the second episode are these screens.
Yeah.
So televisions did not exist in 1899.
That we know of.
So, but that's the thing. So it is not really 1899.
Yeah. No,
and that's where that modern music came in. That was actually a clue for us in the first episode.
Yeah. She also said, I want to say, even though it's 1899 and one more year, it would be 19. And when Mara accidentally said 19, I mean 1899, I feel like it was probably something coming through.
Yeah.
And us as viewers are like, oh, it's easy to be like, yeah, it's about to be 19 something, but she didn't finish the last two numbers. So I'm curious if it actually is later.
Yeah, what if
it's the village situation? It's M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. Or what if it is a way to deal with things that you aren't able to deal with in your real life? So they put you into this world and you have to like deal with the death of a family or a missing brother or your sexuality or your religion. And that's how they do it. They put you in this world and it's like a big mental experiment.
I don't think any of it exists. I don't think they went through any of that.
Oh, really?
No. I think it's mostly fabricated. I think some of it might be planted in some type of truth, but I don't think it's real.
Like Ike in real life lost his family. Not in the fire.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe he might have. I'm just saying, like, it could be that. Like, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's definitely, I mean, from the beginning, it has you questioning everything. And I think from what they're experiencing, I don't feel like we can believe that because it seems like his flashback, just like Mara's, was very fabricated. How was that hallucinatory experience that fabricated? And also finding the ribbon, the same one that was in her head and her hair on the ship. It just seems a little too like it was planned almost.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It is planned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually like agreeing in that factor of like they're planting these things so they can uncover their trauma and deal with it in a way. Like they're all just in a room somewhere.
That would suck.
That would be really sad.
Yeah.
It's like that one episode of Black Mirror, San Junipero?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
They're all just little blinking lights on a board somewhere living their
That's
life.
very sad. Well, on the monitors it showed them, so they have to be somewhere.
Yeah, blinking lights.
No. Yeah, so I think the mystery is definitely there. I'm fine with just sitting there and seeing what happens, because I feel like some of the revelations we've gotten, they kind of set clues and you're like, oh, okay, it is that, but I didn't think it was that. So I'm very interested to see where all of this goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I have just so many theories in my head, and I feel like none of them are going to even be close to what's actually going on. I'm like, Daniel's a doctor, and the Beatles are pills, and I don't even know.
What? Moving pills that can unlock doors.
But you know what? Just to touch on Daniel and the Beatles again, right? Our favorite little sister follows one of the Beatles.
Yeah, the end of episode 2. He makes one of the Beatles, gets Ada, goes out of the storage, comes up, and he says, I'm sorry. Then they find her dead shortly after that.
Yeah.
But why? Why? Why do you need to kill?
And also, how?
And why did you say sorry?
Right. Because he's the devil.
Oh my God.
Or is he God? I don't know.
Ew. So many theories. We have 6 more episodes, right? So let's not get all our theories out there. We could be very wrong or very right.
Can someone track the 20 theories that Noah and I just put out there to see if any of them are right?
Yeah, if you go on our Discord, just message no or yes if we're right on any of them. That'd be great. Is it the Matrix? Probably not. I don't think it is. Yes, so that's really all that happens in these first 2 episodes. It really does set up the atmosphere, the feeling, what the story could possibly be about. I don't trust anything.
Nope.
And I'm here for all of it. I just want to experience it. I'm just going to let it sit and see what happens.
I always want to figure things out.
I know.
I like to be a little detective.
I feel like it's interesting because I feel like in our day-to-day, I'm like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always have to know why, how to do things, whatever. And you're very not like that. But when it comes to particular shows or movies and stuff, I'm like, I need to feel it. I want to just be immersed in the experience. And Derek's it didn't make me. I didn't feel why is this happening?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm always looking for clues, right? Because I feel like with things like this, right? That's why Lost was such a big phenomenon, because everybody was like, what's in the bunker? And, what's with the polar bear? And, this thing or that thing. Where are they really? That was the whole driving force behind it, is that you wanted to find it out. So that's how I'm living in this. I'm like, oh, well, they said that. And that guy was wearing a similar coat. And why does, why does the French woman have the triangle earrings, right? Nobody else has triangles on them but her.
Well, remember, Mara has the triangle on her lock.
But the locket is actually a hexagon.
But there's a triangle on it.
But also, why have we not seen inside the locket?
Shapes are the villains of this story.
Okay.
The triangle.
It's very much Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Right? So it's Tinky Winky. It's all Tinky Winky all the time.
I feel like this is a very Poe job.
Poe?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's just the baby.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's always the little ones you gotta watch out for.
This was a Dipsy moment.
Yeah, Poe is the boy.
That makes sense.
What's happening. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see where this show goes. I give it a big thumbs up.
Yeah, I like it as well. I'm excited to set sail on this journey, wherever it may lead us. Probably
hell,
or an insane asylum.
No, thank you.
Or purgatory.
No, we already did that with Lost. We're not fucking doing it again. I swear to God.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't bring that up. We're bringing up Lost too much, and it's triggering memories for me that I don't want to have.
You know what? I will say this. The one thing I do like about this compared to Lost was that Lost really liked to take you out of the island and put you... Flashbacks, living their normal life. It's no, I'm there for the island. Although there's been flashbacks, they're very eerie.
Right.
And you're very much living on the boat with everyone.
Well, also the flashbacks happen on the boat apparently too. So I don't know. I don't get it.
My chimney is a chimney, but it's not a chimney. It's a passageway to my own room. What?
All right. Till next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to A Bite of. Artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite of. Bye.